So let's say you decide that you're going to interconnect some sort of renewable system to the grid. These are the steps you're going to want to follow. First off, we have a Steel with Sika interconnection application form. Easy two-page thing, name, what you're going to do, what kind of type are you putting up. If you're going to go something larger than 20 kW, there is a $250 non-refundable application fee. That fee actually goes towards your project, but when we talk about larger systems, there are engineering times, and if you decide that up to the last minute you're not going to go through with it, we want to make sure the co-op was refunded there, or at least got paid for the work that they did up to the point of when you cancel the project. Second, what will happen is after I get that application, we'll do a site fee, and if needed, we'll do some engineering studies. So you'll know I'm the one you call. I'm the one, if you just have questions and you don't want to fill an application, you call me. I spend at least a couple hours a week talking to somebody about wind and solar. The site visit, though, I will not do until I get the application. And usually we'll also bring along our meter technicians so everybody's on the same page. When we do a site visit, usually we ask you, if you have a project manager, and also your electrician to be on site at the same time so everybody's on the same page. These systems are pretty much cookie cutter to us, whether you do wind or solar. It's the same interconnection rules for us. So I'm not really concerned on how it is, but we know that communication is the biggest key. So we want everybody there at that on-site beat. Next we got to do is contract signing. We'll go a little bit more in detail what kind of contracts we're talking about. Then we'll do construction interconnection. You put up your turbine or you install your solar system, and then we'll do our necessary changes. There is a cost sharing on what we pay, what the co-op will do, and what you are responsible for as a generation owner. And then finally, that's when we will do the final collection of costs, and we always usually bill out after. On average, when we do an interconnection of a system, it's going to run somewhere between $800 and probably about $2,000, depending on how complicated of a system you're putting in. So talking about contracts, I think that's what's next. Yep. There's 3 important points to remember. One, you need to carry $300,000 in liability insurance. Most of you can just tack that on to your homeowner's policy. It's not that big of a deal, but it has to list Steel with Sika as additionally insured or additionally contacted, because the state requires us to require you, this is a roundabout way of doing it, but that's the state, to have insurance on your system in case something goes wrong, if there's an electrical issue or the mechanical issue. Second of all, you need a visible, accessible disconnect switch that Steel with Sika employees can access. The reason why is when we're working on our lines, we got to ensure that that system is not backfeeding on something that we thought was dead. So during a storm situation, during a planned maintenance situation, we need to be able to get to disconnect your turbine or your solar system from the grid. Even though most of these systems are inverters, this is a visual open that our guys can see, and that puts it in their head that, yep, this is open, and I can lock it, and I know it's not going to feed back onto the grid. It is a safety issue. And finally, there's a do no harm clause. Basically, that says Steel with Sika system will not harm your renewable system will not harm Steel with Sika system. So what you do after that is we're going to be signing 2 different contracts. The first is called, hang on, the Uniform Statewide Contract for Cogeneration and Small Power Production Facilities Less than 40 kW. Nice long name for a 3-page contract. Basically, it's just the power purchasing contract that says we're going to pay you retail rate. You're going to get a check either by mail, or we're going to give you a credit to your account, and you said you're going to do net metering. Very simple contract, but that's the money contract. The second contract is 70 pages long. That is not the easy one. It's the Minnesota State Interconnection Agreement for Distribution Generation Contract. There's 5 portions to it. The Minnesota PUC in 2003 created a working group of different people in the utility business and different wind and solar farmers, basically, to sit down at the table and create a working document of what are the rules, how long between meetings do you have to respond, who do you contact at the utility, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because nobody had really a set path of how to handle interconnections like this. Well, this document was designed to cover any sort of interconnection, whether it be renewable, diesel, whatever, up to 2 megawatts. Well, that's quite large. We signed this contract, but we only follow a little bit of it, because when you're talking about a 40 kW system, there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't apply. I sit down with you, we go through it page by page. I'll answer any questions you got. It's really not that bad, other than we sign it in triplicate and it's 70 pages long. But basically, it covers the technical aspects and the legal portions of what can happen when you interconnect a renewable system.